Well, hello, friends and family. It is shortly after 2 o'clock here on the West Coast, and it's Tuesday. So, it must be time for SPAC Chat. We are back for another season of SPAC Chat Live. We have broadcasts every Tuesday. The second Tuesday of the month is called Tech Tuesday, and that is hosted with a fellow board member, Matthew Mueller. And on the fourth Tuesday of the month, it is Michael Rack and TJ Rack back with OPP, Original Portrait Photographers. They have nice chats and interview various people who have been part of our industry for so long, giving you an insight to how far the industry has come, businesses, SPAC has grown. It's always nice to hear stories about the past and reminisce over good times. Now, SPAC Chat, the other ones, are basically live broadcast. We live broadcast to all of our socials, and it is audience participation. So if you're watching us live, make sure you tell us where you are tuning in from. If you have any questions at any time, slide those into the comments. We bring it onto screen. But most importantly, this is your SPAC Chat. So what we want is we want people to send us topics or people that you would like for us to feature on SPAC Chat. If you want to have a chat about something specifically, you always can reach out to me and let us know. There's a few ways of doing that. You can always email me at spacout@gmail.com. But also on our website, we have a contact form and we have a full page dedicated to SPAC Chat. Okay, without further ado, I'm going to bring on our host for SPAC Chat, and that's Calvin Harrell. Calvin, welcome to the stage.
Hey, Corey, how you doing? Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome to another edition of SPAC Chat. This is kind of a follow-up edition to the phenomenal conference that we just concluded. We certainly hope that you got back to your home abode, to your offices, and were able to implement some of the concepts, ideas, some of the introductory services that many of the vendors were offering, because there was a lot of new stuff that I'm pretty darn excited about. I'll share with you, I'm sure, during the course of this conversation. So welcome, and we certainly hope that you had a marvelous, marvelous day. Now, if I put a hat on, it's because it's cold here. This morning we had a conference call with Beth, and she's in New York, and she told us, "Oh no, we're going out." I asked her, "How's the weather?" She says, "Well, it's above 30 today. People are outside in their shorts." Of course, we're from California, and it's like, what is the temperature here? About 45, 50 degrees, Corey?
Yeah, it's 46 today right now.
Yeah, and I'm freezing. Corey loves the cold. I don't care for it like that. But anyway, it's a time of year that we all have to get things going. Now, there's some other subjects, obviously, that are hot on people's minds right now. And the best thing that I can tell you, because we don't want to have that as a public discussion, the best thing that I can tell you is be prepared at all times to go out and recruit new business, because opportunities open up at any point. And when they do, the early bird gets the worm. You got to be able to respond to the conditions that are potentially changing around you, and the schools and organizations, how are they responding to environmental conditions? Was that polite enough to put it that way, Cora?
That was perfect, Calvin. You're right. So things change from region to region, country to states. Like, everything is ongoing, full of change. Yeah. The best thing you can do is focus on your business and what you can do and what services you provide, right?
That's it. Just be ready. Be ready to move. You should have literature already put together. You should have social media posts put together. Just be a predictor of what's going down and how do you fit in without talking negatively about anybody. You just have to be a presence in the positive, and people will tend to gravitate towards you. So, Corey, let's talk about the subject matter at hand. More specifically, what was the subject matter that we're going to cover today?
Well, we've got some basic news. We'll come up with some announcements that we have later on. But let me just first start by saying, from what I hear from a lot of people in the industry, it's sales season, right? Is that what you guys do in February and March? You go out and start knocking on doors?
Absolutely. Well, yeah, knocking on doors, should be knocking them on all the time, at least through a drip process with emails or communicating with people that you've had contact with. Yes, this is absolutely the time because you now have an idea of what new services you might be able to offer, how you're going to realign your pricing model to fit our current conditions. Are you considering going to a process of pay to see, where they would pay a prepay an amount to be actually able to see their images online, because there's such a grave concern about the copyright infringement, or at least people stealing images online. So with that in mind, you now have to figure out, how am I going to address this if you are, and then how do I share this with the schools or organization, with the entities, how we're addressing certain challenges that our industry has. Believe me, every administrator knows that some of their parents steal. It doesn't matter. Schools are like microcosms of a community, of a city, a broad community. And the behavior that we see that we might not like, the principal is aware of it. Have you ever had a conversation with an administrator, school secretary, or principal about a customer who seems to always have, they never get their pictures? 2, 3, 4 years in a row, they're always saying they didn't get their pictures. It's easier, certainly, to just print the pictures and send them to them. But the administrator knows who is it that bounces or whose payments aren't going to be good. Who is it that you better only take a check from them, don't take credit card? Who is it that that claims they didn't get something that was sent home, and the teacher knows it was sent home, but it still never arrived home theoretically? Administrators in schools know the behavior, human behavior. It is simply what it is. So prepare yourselves for new conversations. That's what the time is about right now.
Yeah. And the other thing I want to talk about real quick is we had record-setting attendance at SPAC this year. A big hugs out to all those people who either had to leave early because of that huge weather storm, or those who stayed in Vegas for a couple extra days because they could not get back home. So I'm glad you're all home. I'm glad everyone was safely back to their home place. But it is time for you to start preparing for next year, your next sales season next year, as well as SPAC. So let me just start off with the number one question I've been getting. Okay, Corey. So I think maybe I want to speak next year, or I'm thinking about talking about a topic. Corey, How do I do that? So in May, we email, as well as on our website, pull up a form, a Google form for you to fill out. We don't need the details of your talk quite yet. We just need to know a working title. We need to know whether if it's geared towards 30 minutes, which is a nugget of information, a 60-minute class, or 90. 90 usually involves a demo, or if it's strictly a talk or strictly a demo. Those are the nut bolts of what we need. And then, of course, what you're going to be sharing in your class. Deadline for that is July 5th. So we give you all the month of May and all the month of June to get that together. If you're thinking about it now because you have downtime now, make those notes, get that out of the way. So that way, when you see my email on May 1st, you're like, ready to plug in that information, off it goes.
Well, Corey, one of the things with that is that's kind of that part. And, that Boy Scout in me comes out. And one of the first things they teach you, I don't know what it's called, but be prepared. It's the first lesson in Boy Scouts. You need to prepare yourself for every condition. This is one of those things, just as I spoke about being prepared to market to schools on an ongoing basis, especially when a situation arises, such as we're observing within the industry right now. But your talk, whatever you're talking about, you should have enough information already put together and canned before you even get to the application period. So it's not a rush process. Let's stretch it on out. Do a mind map of ideas and concepts and pull it together and create your session and be able to measure the length of the session, as opposed to working backwards with, well, how long do I have? Let me go ahead and build my session around that. No, put together the session. You can pull pages from the session. You can reduce the session. But if you put it together comprehensive, you'll have a much better experience, shall we say, in preparing for the show.
Exactly. So then after July 5th, all of those proposals, we remove the names at first, and they all go to our advisory group called Education.
Yep.
They're key people who have volunteered in the organization. Many of them have been speakers themselves, and they're in tune also with what's going on in the industry. And they basically rank them. They read them through, they evaluate them, giving them a score. Then we go back and add the names, because sometimes that does play into a decision maker's decision. And then after that, we do the old Sudoku puzzle, just try to make sure that there's one sports class, one schools class, one business class. And we build it that way, so that way you can pick and choose what classes you want to go to. And hopefully most of the time there's not two classes at the same time, but in that case, you need to find a buddy. But now that I mentioned advisory groups, let me move into the next topic.
Before you go any further, though, we have to give a shout out. Wasn't Nick in charge of that?
Nick he's our board member who's over education, and he did a phenomenal job. Nick
Shub, he's a second or third generation operator who did a absolutely phenomenal job of wrangling, because that's what we got to call it. It's wrangling a whole lot of people, a whole lot of ideas, and a whole lot of applications. He managed that whole process. So we can't ignore the people that, step up and do what we need done to have a successful show.
That's what it takes. Really, I want to remind everybody again, this is a volunteer organization. We are a nonprofit group. So our board members work hard, as well as our advisory members. And hey, there's always an opportunity to get more involved. And so let me also say that Nick also took care of all the one-on-one coaching, which I heard this year was phenomenal. And the space that we were able to provide for you to have that one-on-one coaching, I heard just was incredible in the feedback department. So we definitely will keep that model the same way. Now, moving into advisory boards.
But what you didn't mention is that we already know at this moment that next year's trade show will have more vendors.
Yes.
The number of vendors that are saying, hey, I've got to be there. I understand that you guys have the #1 show in the industry. They are coming. We'll have a bigger trade show, which is just, they are a huge piece of supporting the overall, our goals as an organization and supporting the industry.
Yeah, a lot of feedback. As you see, the SPAC zone is the area we held the coaching in. A lot of people enjoyed that. You're correct, Penny, that we definitely had a better scheduling module for that this year. So there was no overlap really. And so that was really fantastic as well. Calvin just disappeared, so I guess I'm just going to keep talking. Let me just say real quick, a hi to Len. I see that hi from North Carolina, Len. Good to see you. I am waiting for my boxes that I shipped home to open them up. I think I have a few extra of the guidebooks available. If I do, I will send you one. But trust me, Len, I got your email. You want a book. I will make sure you get a book, Len, so don't worry about that. Okay, so moving on to advisory groups. So, oh, wait, I have a little question. There is a possibility of a production category. So, Calvin, that is something that we'll take back to the board and look to see if we can kind of maybe put together a little bit more production kind of track. I totally understand that.
Penny will make it happen.
Yes, Penny, we love that.
We'll make it happen.
We might call on you, but it'll happen. So basically, some of the news in SPAC is our board members are transitioning. We've got 2 board members. Calvin and Wayne have been on the flagship of this boat for many years. Calvin, you probably get the world's longest board member title. Doesn't mean they're going anywhere, folks. They're actually moving into more of a senior advisor position. They definitely have their strong suits that we do not want to lose in this organization. So that is why the board has worked really hard to open up a seat on the board for this year and then move those 2 into a senior advisor position. So As we move into this next month, we will be having a application for the executive board directors. Again, it's a Google form. You'll fill it out. We do ask for a resume. We do ask for 2 letters of recommendation. One of them needs to be from a vendor or a supplier. And all the details will be posted on the website. You can look for that announcement at the very beginning of March, perhaps next week. The beginning of March is when that opens up. Then we'll move into interviews and so forth. And the whole idea is the new board member will join the board on May 1st. And just in time for our summer SPAC planning meeting that we have, where we get together and decide all the good stuff. Also, at this time, let's say you're not willing or don't have the time available to be a board member. We're going to also use that to filter in some of our advisory groups. So we have 3 advisory groups. The first one is Engage. Engage is all about that customer forward person, the person who's on SPAC chat, the person who comes to all the icebreaker games that we do at SPAC. People who are very tech savvy because they're posting online, they're doing a lot of things, sharing in our community. That would be the Engage advisory group. The second one, which I talked about before, is the Education advisory group. That's the one that really drives the education to make sure that SPAC stays current in our topics, covering all topics, all aspects of the business are covered. And again, most of them have been before speakers. Sometimes they speak again, which is quite all right. And then our third advisory group is Enrich. Who enriches our SPAC organization? And that is our exhibitors and our vendors. So we have a committee of advisors who help us when it comes to making trade show decisions, when it helps us with making sure that we're staying relevant with what topics we're discussing. Or if we have a topic that we need to discuss, we may call on some of them to come on to a SPAC chat to give us their input, their feedback, their expertise. So please, if you see that and maybe you're not interested in going for a board position, put your name in. Just let me know that you're interested in an advisory group. It doesn't take much time. I would say maybe 7 hours a year if I had to put a number on it. But that's about it. But we are looking to bring more people part of the organization in, especially with SPAC chats. You know, sometimes Calvin and I talk to each other and we're like, so Calvin, what are we going to talk about this week? And I'm struggling because I'm not in the business of finding a topic that might be relevant or finding out what you might want to listen to for an hour. And so those are areas that we are definitely looking for your input.
Sure.
Right, Calvin?
Absolutely. You know, it's one of those things where we don't have the type of what would it be called, crew, production crew, etc. All of this is done organically and in-house. Even the broadcast, while it's a pretty screen and all of that, hey, you know, software is a monster nowadays. It allows us to do a lot of things. It's still a matter of we've got to have participation and folks that are willing to share their experience, good and bad. Look, all of us have good and bad. And there's a no judgment zone. Remember, we've always talked about there's no one right way to do anything, right? Everybody has their own way of doing something because they've adapted it for whatever the reasons are. So if their way works for them, that's wonderful. Don't change it. So we need to know what challenges folks have and what great benefits or what great experiences they're having so that we'll all be able to avail ourselves of the good and avoid the challenges. I think that's in my mind, that's the best way to say it. We are here to try to help folks succeed on every level of the business. So this is an advisory chat as well as an informational chat. So join us anytime Corey makes the call. Please join us.
Yeah. Okay, now moving on to some really incredible news. So I'm going to share real quick this image here. This was last year's Young Creative Scholarships. We gave away 2 scholarships per region, West, Central, and East Coast. This scholarship amount is $1,500, and then Sony gives them all a camera with a lens, a nice kit. Who is the target for this? This is your senior yearbook kid, your photographer that's working at the school taking candids to fill the yearbook. That kind of student is the perfect fit for Young Creative Scholarship. What we're doing, folks, is filling your pipeline so that way you have some invested young entrepreneurs, perhaps, who are looking for employment in the future that would be a perfect fit for your business. Now, do you only send this out to the schools that you have contracts with? Heck no, I'd be using this right now on your sales call just to let every high school in your area know about this opportunity. So basically,
but Corey, also, just so people are aware, you can take that artwork, format it, and have posters made for $2 at Science 365 under their handhelds. If you were to do that and you take a poster like that with your logo at the bottom of the poster and it says money for kids, schools will put your name up on the wall in their school. It's basically a way to get inside, to share, one, about SPAC being an organization that supports young creatives, but two, you're the one delivering that potential service or that potential benefit to them. Schools like to talk about what you're doing to help their kids, and this is one of those things that will definitely apply.
So dig into your email, because I emailed you last week with the announcement, and I also included a full media kit ready to go. Everything, brochures, postcards that you need, and we've even left a spot at the bottom for you to put your logo on it, because we do ask in the application how they found out about it. And as you see from the first picture, we're going to mail you, let's say it's one of your students, we're going to mail you the camera and the big check. And that way, the only thing we ask in return is that you get a photograph with the student so that we can use it in our marketing and we can just celebrate those kids who get this. Now, I'm going to put this on the screen right now. This is the QR code that takes you directly to the application. Okay, so let me give you a minute. Everybody can screenshot this. This takes you directly to the application. This is what the student will need to fill out. All of the other details are on our website regarding requirements. They've got to be a U.S. citizen, things like that. There's very few requirements. We don't even ask for GPA, but we do ask for some documentation that they are going to graduate. And then all of this information goes to our committees, and they decide on who the recipients will be. We announce it at the very end of May, so that way we can capture it perhaps before graduations and get these checks delivered so we can get some photo media. Okay, did everyone get the QR code? It's up on the screen, screenshot it.
They got it. Core, I want to show you something. I want to go back to here. Can we get the HIGH? Your high and capital school and senior. High should be capitalized.
Thank you. I'll make that change. Thank you, Calvin.
Yep.
Okay, folks. Let's see, Calvin, what other news do we have right now?
Hey, I don't, and not a lot, we'd love people to, if they were on, to be able to chime in and tell us what they saw that was exciting. I can share a couple of things. One was, there is a new product coming out from one of the lab, it's a lab. It's software from capture to delivery, and that's coming out of the More Photo Group of some sort. It's called NEX Pix Pro. That was something that was very exciting. Another was Yearbox, the digital yearbook design. Yearbooks are transitioning. Even print product companies are delivering a digital yearbook, but it's not really a digital yearbook. It's a PDF flip book of an existing yearbook. Whereas the Yearbox thing, as I understand it, you're actually able to upload unlimited pictures, unlimited video, and that sort of thing. And so it becomes live and it's personalized, etc. So those are two things that I saw that were really triggers to say, okay, this has great applications. We just need to figure out how to use it in our sales and marketing.
I also heard from a lot of people that was their first time experiencing that moving memories where the photo image then comes live.
Yeah.
Which again, a lot of people are marketing towards. That's something the mom with a camera can't do.
Absolutely.
So I heard a lot of things about that. I heard a lot of things about, a big discussion group about what colors are going to be trending in the next year, meaning what colors are fashion people using for clothing. So there was a lot of discussions on getting tapped into what color scheme is going to be, what are colors people painting their houses, things like that play into maybe some of your decision making when figuring out a background or a backdrop.
And that information is readily available. Pantone each year. Pantone is an ink company. They were an ink company. I suppose they still are, but Pantone publishes every year a palette of colors, color of the year. And so that could give you some guidance on that as well. It's what's trending, as you said, Corey, what's trending. Hey, your literature, it needs to be attractive. Your social media posts, they've got to look good. And color is a critical piece to all of that. So look it up. You'll figure it out.
We also know now that the Pick Snub workshop was a huge hit. And obviously, you want to thank Brand Averett for taking some time and really spending time with people on that. That will be probably a bigger class next year for a pre-con again. I got a lot of questions. Corey, why are some things pre-conference and some things just not in regular conference? Pre-conference allows us a few hours to dig into a topic. You know, our longest session really is 90 minutes at SPAC during our general ed. And that's usually a discussion and a demo. 90 minutes makes that easier. However, it's sometimes a topic really deserves longer than 60 minutes to talk about. So that is why we decide on the pre-conferences the way we do. We will always keep Schools 101 and Sports 101 because education is a huge component of SPAC, and we want to make sure that people get good, solid training information before they deep dive into the regular conference. Congratulations to all those people that won the photo contest. We will be sending that email out as well, sharing with you the photo winners and their photos that they submitted. So congratulations to all of those people. And thank you again for joining in the fun.
A little bit of this and a little bit of that. It's a community that is all inclusive. So yes, you need to be a part of making it a success, and joining and submitting your images for those contests are a part of that process. Exactly. Hey, Corey, I have had questions come to me as, why don't you just make it a conference goes from Wednesday or even Tuesday through Saturday? And, I don't really have a good answer for it. I have an answer for them. What we do is a lot right now, let alone adding another 2 full days of conference time. So right now we got to stay the course where we are and continue to make this better and better.
Yeah, the other conversation, and I'll be really honest with all of everybody. Everyone's like, hey, we're back at the South Point next year. Yeah, 2027, we're back at South Point. The board has been doing due diligence for 2 years to make sure that we are picking a place that is economically nice, as well as logistically easy to get in and out of in January. And so far, we haven't had very many other options. We have discussed perhaps moving a little closer to the Strip, but I want to be really honest with everybody. And I told you all this at SPAC. We moved to the Strip and we're on Union properties. We're looking at 40 to 50% more for the attendee, as well as probably a little bit more for the exhibitor. So we would rather price this at a model where more people can afford it, because that's how committed we are to the industry. So please keep in mind that whereas we do like some of the bells and whistles elsewhere, we are trying to look at this from all perspectives. And if you do have a real heartfelt, deep core belief on something that I should know about, email me because my email is always open and I read everything, and I do bring everything to the board so that they know what everybody's talking about and thinking about. Right, Calvin?
I agree 100%. Right now, this month, put away $150 a month for each person that's going to go on the conference. You'll have enough money when you get to the end of the year. It'll be $1,800. You'll be in good shape, hotel, registration, and all. You'll be able to cover most of your expenses with that.
Okay, I think that rhymes.
It's not a lot of money when we talk about education. The value proposition is huge.
I like the fact that a lot of people like reach out to their tax guy, and their tax guy is like, hey, you need a bigger deduction for business this year. So yes, let's see what Birdie's got. Birdie's saying, hello, what awesome people.
Birdie, we're too burned out to be up after midnight on any given night. Sorry, but I'll eat dinner with you next year, Birdie.
There you go. I also just want to mention that for those of us who do gamble, I only gamble on Sunday after everything is done. Where else can you find a $5 blackjack table? Okay, that's all I'm going to say. Okay. Anyways, folks, this wraps up SPAC Chat for this week. Yeah. But we do have OPP coming next week. And we are back. Like I said, SPAC Chat is back. But I need your topics, your suggestions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think we're going to have some good conversations because that world of artificial intelligence is growing on us very quickly. And Birdie could be one of the people that we have this conversation with. So, Birdie, I'm lining you up for a show coming up, okay? And there'll be others, of course, that have worked out there or have improved their workflow by using the available tools and technology. Oh, by the way, there was one other thing that I saw. It's called SchedulLink, SchedulLink. It is a management program for an operation. And the word studio is one of those things. We use the word studio, but it's different than it was. It could be your home business, whatever it is. It's for volume photography, built by Volume Photography Organization. I think the Rack family or the Rack brothers had something to do with putting it together. But it's an extraordinary, powerful piece, and it's something like $15 a month. It's like it's a no-brainer based on the price. I think that is. Don't hold me to it, but from what I have seen of it, it is fully functional, and it has all the things that we need. Whether it be email dripping, whether it be it's a CRM, dripping emails that go out automatically on a predefined time, number of days before picture day, requesting your data, thanking them for sending the data, verifying location, facility, who's the custodian, all of the information. You build out your letters, whatever you're currently using, and so many people aren't. You build out your things so that it'll be automated process. So SchedulLink was another one that I got to put a big flag on and say, yeah, that was one that was really interesting too.
The biggest takeaway I heard from that, Calvin, is so many people were taking CRM systems that were built for really another industry and trying to adapt it to photography.
Yes.
And this is really made by photographers, built by photographers, for photographers. So that's exciting. That's really exciting.
Absolutely. And every year we're seeing more customized things for us in our interesting, which will be very beneficial. Penny, you're giving us something there, but I need to know what will be very beneficial for new attendees. And then we're going to wrap this thing up.
I think she was talking about the CRM scheduling and all of that stuff. I think that's what she was referring to.
Oh, hugely.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, folks. So do you have something you want us to talk about on SPAC Chat? Right now, before you go away, I want you to send me an email. Tell me what you want me to talk about. Is there someone in the industry you've always been like, I really wanted to pick Chip Wagner's brain? Anything like that, you just send it to me and I've got it. Let's say we got some people saying, hey, are there tagging people in this broadcast? Hey, Lance, good to see you. I hope everybody who went and attended SPAC made a friend. And I hope that at least once a month you reach out to that friend. Or maybe it's not even a friend, it's just someone that really inspired you. Maybe it was their talk at SPAC or was a dinner conversation. Reach out. We need to remember that we're not all isolated in our own businesses, that we are a sense of community. And that's what SPAC is really about. I'm not a photographer. I don't work for a photography company. I don't work for an exhibitor. I work for the community. And really the biggest thing that I see that makes us really unique is our sense of community and sharing and collaborating, not colliding. And so I really want to take that message today and send it out to all of you. Happy Chinese New Year. So I hope that this brings you the fire horse with lots of prosperity. And fire horse, he's going. He's taken off. It's fast. It's got a little fire energy behind it. So harvest that energy for your business this year.
Absolutely. All right, folks, thanks a lot for joining us for this edition of SPAC Chat. We realize it was a short edition. It was a review of the past conference. We certainly hope that you'll be able to join us in the future on Tuesdays at 2 p.m. As Corey said, we've got OPP, old professional photographers. Those are the folks that have been pillars and hallmarks in this specific line of work, the volume photography industry. Again, the Rack brothers put that together, and they do a remarkable job. We also have Matt the Body, who runs a Tech Tuesday, which will be in 3 weeks from now. And then every third meeting or every third SPAC Chat, he'll be operating a session on technology and what's going on, how are people using, and that sort of thing. So thank you so much for joining us. We will see you next week. Bye-bye.
Bye, everybody.